LeBron, you spoke highly of the Cavs at All-Star. What's your view of them now that you've seen them with Donovan Mitchell? Do you see them as a contender?
Well, I got in trouble last time for just giving an honest opinion. I got in trouble for that, which I don't care, so I'll give another opinion. Yeah, I mean, Jason's my friend, so where is Jason Lloyd here? He's not even here. He didn't make the trip.
Jason did not make the trip, but he is in the UCSS studios this morning. Jason, LeBron coming on. You guys are now friends. Officially friends.
We ain't friends.
He made it Facebook official last night.
Hey, we ain't friends.
Y'all in a relationship? Let me feel.
Let's have it. Go on. Give me the.
I ain't ever been invited to none of them cool parties.
Give me the tea.
No, we ain't.
Who was the guy? By the way, welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's G. Bush. Bull is out a little ill today. Jay will be back, so they gave me less money to do this job. So it's okay. It's all right.
I'm gonna take your cut today.
He get half. He get another 3/4. We just working on per diem over here right now, man.
That's all we are.
Now, who was the guy? You heard his press conference that was it was his birthday. He said we're gonna take some shots later. Was that Miniman? He said it was his birthday on the road. He said, "Hey, oh no, we'll get some shots later."
Probably McMahon. I didn't hear that one.
Okay.
I didn't hear it.
I was going to ask if he's ever invited you for any shots or of any sort.
No, he did, joking around. We were in Boston and going to Atlanta the next day, and he jokingly said, "Let's go out to the clubs that night." But that did not happen. Like, we are not friends. We are not. I've never seen him outside the locker room, outside an arena, like. And he knows that stuff drives me crazy. When he called us his last year in Cleveland, he called me and Dave and Joe Varden his work wives. And that made me mad. Like, I wasn't there when he said it. I was talking to Kevin as a shooter.
Yeah.
And I went to the locker room before the game, and I'm like, I ain't your wife, man. If I'm your wife, I want a divorce. Don't ever call me your wife. That's so, like, disrespectful.
I need half that. Show me that half.
And he was cracking up. He had fun with it.
Man,
but, we ain't friends. But I didn't. I appreciate it.
We can get to them because that's sad out there. That is. I looked at that last night. I was like, during the post game show, I was like, this is awful. This is trash.
I was actually on my way. We was going out the way to celebrate my birthday early. So we was going through, back Amish town, and so I got my little phone while my wife was driving. And me and my dad is sitting there, and he says, yeah, this ain't going to be good enough for the Lakers. Lakers got off to a really good start. Yeah. And they was up 17, Jason.
Yeah.
And my dad turned around and looked at me, and he's usually more knee-jerk reaction than I am.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, man, they got to do something with this, man. It's unacceptable. He turned around at halftime and said, they ain't nothing. They played the best they could play.
No.
They still only down by 4. And the Cavs poured it on them boys in the second half.
They came out, and Jason they came out strong, trying to make a statement, but they don't have any staying power. I mean, they got all-stars looking like suckers. I mean, and they got, people like they came straight out the stands playing for the Lakers. I like, the Lakers, Magic, Worthy, Cooper, Kareem, Rambis. I mean, Michael, that's what I'm used to seeing the Lakers.
This ain't Brad's Lakers.
Like, what is this? Who is these dudes? I'm like, and look, Westbrook, he scored. I mean, he played decent off the bench.
Right.
He scored. The first thing he did was run to the crowd and be like, hey, y'all. Like, everything is with the crowd.
Somebody loves me.
I'm like, relax.
He was saying, it ain't my fault. It ain't had nothing to do with this. You see me, I'm clapping it up. Before we get into the Cavs, big time win yesterday. Sunday matinee, I don't know how many times this has happened. They go out to L.A. and get a 114-100 win over the L.A. Lakers. LeBron has pretty much earned and owned them for pretty much since he left. I think they were 8-1, 7-1.
Yeah.
We'll break that down today. Cavs stay hot. We'll talk about that. We got a Didi coming up. We got Leroy coming up. Who else we got, Bing? Because we got another person coming up.
We got Reflog. Cleveland's
okay.
#1 internet troll and meme maker is going to share with us his 5 favorite celebrity tweets and encounters. And I didn't know most of these. They're absolutely hysterical. It's going to be a fun segment later, about 12:40.
What happened? Your Bosch alarm didn't work today. You had to take the contacts out. Now you got on glasses.
I got glasses. I've worn them a couple times since
that's
since
usually
last
when your
week.
eyes got dry eye over there.
Them is the
Yeah.
Peabodys.
So like now, me and G, we wear glasses all the time.
Yeah,
we don't be faking it. Right?
Listen, I had to bring my joint. I can't read what's on the bottom of that screen messing around with me.
Hey, last time I was at the eye doctor, they told me I'm right on the line for bifocals. I'm like, man, I'm too young for that.
Hey.
I'll just fight through.
here.
I'll just keep fighting.
Hey,
I'd rather not
hey,
see
hey.
than wear bifocals.
That's these.
You're older than me, man.
That's these, bro. I wear them proudly.
He told me you're right on that line. I said, well, I'm going to stay on this side of the line. Then. I'll get you next time.
When you got to bend down like these, that is.
You know what?
ooh.
I'm this guy in the restaurant. I'm this guy. Looking at the menu with my phone with the light on.
So is my dad, and my dad's like, Mike, I need a second flashlight. You give me a hand here. I'm like, yeah, Dad, you're on your own here, man. Like, I love you. You're on your own.
Bring a Spectre Gadget magnifying glass.
So here's what I'm gonna do. Because I be throwing curveballs in the game. Reflaw gonna come tell us his celebrity stories. See, these dudes is kind of celebrity. They know a lot of people more famous than I do. So I'm gonna get y'all celebrity stories at some point during this day too. Okay. Because I know you the messing people. I want to we go down to the brass tacks of that, bro. But first, let's get off into this Cavs win, man. 114-100. Listen, when you watch this team and you see Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and you see the way they're playing, but then you also get a chance and opportunity to see what they did against Detroit without Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. We'll start with you, Jason. What is your thought process on when you see this Cavs team and the way they are playing in two different scenarios, two different circumstances, but still getting it done in a really semi-dominant fashion?
Well, it's something that, Brad, I know you and I have talked about this. They can beat you in so many different ways. They're I don't know, flexible, versatile. That's a better word. They're versatile. Yeah. They can beat you defensively. They can go big and create mismatches against you. They can, obviously, when Donovan and Darius are out there, that's what I said last week, they're going to go where those guys take them. Like, the ball's in their hands, they're going to drive this thing. Games when they're not out there, they can beat you defensively. They can beat you with size. Kevin obviously is good. He's like that old country song. He's not as good as he once was, but he's as once good as he ever was.
Yes,
that's Kevin. And so the depth of this team, I'm not really surprised. Like, we talked about it before the season, and would they win 51 games? I said, yeah, I think they'd win 51 games. So they're gonna hit a cold stretch. It's going to happen. They're not gonna win, 71, 72 games this year, I don't think. Injuries are going to be a factor at some point. You kind of worry about with Darius. He's already had a lot of injuries throughout his career, so you worry about that a little bit, especially with all the money that he's making. But this is a team, we saw it yesterday with Donovan, couldn't really make a three. I think he was 1 of 7 on three.
Yeah. Yep.
So he starts attacking, get to the basket, get to the line. He's smart enough to know how to play when shots aren't falling in ways to make winning plays. So, it's what we were talking about, Brad. I don't think you were in last week when we were talking about regular season versus postseason. And I said
it's a difference.
It is totally different.
It's a difference.
So enjoy this. Enjoy this ride from now till April, because, this has been an organic build, an organic growth of this team. But nothing that happens between now and April will have anything to do with what happens in April, May, and June, because it's just completely different.
And Jason, it's totally different. I mean, they're completely different, but it has some building block characteristics involved in it, right? So when I look at Donovan Mitchell, you know what I'm surprised at around here? People are like, I didn't know Donovan Mitchell. Well, you didn't stay up late and watch him out in Utah. Because what he's doing now is the same thing he was doing in Utah. He just got a better supporting cast with it. And this team, I would just have to give kudos. I always give kudos and homage to the guys I played with against that Cavaliers team in the late 80s. Harper Price, Nance Doherty, Hot Rod, Phil Hubbard, that Mike Sanders, Darnell Valentine. I'm going down the list of this, because they was emblazed in my brain, right? They are more reminiscent of that team than the new Hollywood kids out here. Yeah. Like, when I see the Lake Show, it's just a bunch of dudes who probably on Twitter and doing everything else. I see our dudes, they fly under the radar. And the joy, did you see afterwards with JB and then when they gave him the chain? The joy of just being in the group. And I guarantee if I had to follow this team on the road, you might see them 4 or 5 of them out of the movie theater together, at the restaurant together, whereas you see me on some teams, and Jason knows this, hell, I won't see a dude for a year. I mean, is he even in the hotel? Because you don't get along like this. This group is getting along. Now, you're right. They're going to run into some bumps. We're going to see how they respond after the bumps. But the one thing that has happened, Donovan Mitchell has done for them, he's given a lot of them bandwidth, right? Now, the pressure not on me. You saw going down the stretch, even when the Lakers made the wholesale substitute like there was the white flag. and then the guys were coming back in the last and made a couple plays. Who did they put the ball in the hands of? Donovan Mitchell. He got the and one on him.
Close him out.
Yeah, but his mentality was like, enough of this. I'm gonna put this dagger in you. You done. Right?
And I thought at parts of the first part of the game, there was times where the Lakers, you knew the Lakers could come out with a little bit of energy.
Yeah.
LeBron was playing bully ball. AD was getting whatever he wanted under the basket. And then Russ came in with that energy, right? And so they gave him their best punch. But I thought it was really special that Donovan Mitchell kept him in that game.
They stay close.
Just stay close. And it was calming, like, come on, man. Y'all not about
Relax.
to get out. Relax, I got it.
Here, it's twofold. LeBron is used to bullying the Cavaliers. Like LeBron walks on the floor when he see the Cavaliers. Man, you ain't nothing without
3 losses in his career.
You're not,
3 times
you're
they've
not
beaten him
nothing
now.
without me.
Right.
Yesterday was different.
Oh, it was
They're like, oh, this all you got. Because Donovan Mitchell, he not buying it. He's like, oh, no. Remember me? I'm the dude in Utah. Remember me? You seen this act. I'm about to give it to you. And the rest of them, guess what? Them guys on the other team, the Laker teams that have been around, oh, they saw that Donovan Mitchell act before, and they didn't have no parts of it. None of it did they have for him.
And JC gives that cachet. Like, it's like, when I see him play, it's like they could tell us, yeah, y'all ain't been here before. But now they really can't say much because you got Kevin Love, who comes off the bench with that. And then you got Donovan Mitchell. They like, hold on, you can't play us like the little brothers no more. We not a little pet project here.
Let me give you this, and Jason, I want your take on this. The biggest ingredient beside Donovan Mitchell is what Kevin Love is bringing to them, because he's totally bought into this.
100%.
I'm not the 2020 dude out of Minnesota anymore.
Yeah.
I'm this dude off the bench. You give me 20, 25 minutes, I'm gonna give you some work, but I'm gonna give you some leadership here. I'm gonna be in somebody's ear. I'm gonna do the dirty things here. He's taking 9 charges in 9 games. This is ridiculous. As a 6'10" power forward.
With back problems.
With back
a
problems.
history of back issues.
Hold on. And then he's leading the chant in the locker room after the game. I'm like, what are you, the frat boy?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, let me rewind like 3 years. In your wildest dreams, Brad, Jason, and G, did you ever see Kevin Love blocking LeBron on a dunk attempt?
No.
Like, would that have ever
no.
even crossed
He
your
challenged
mind?
it. Here, let me tell you something. Be honest with you. I love Kevin Love. I like his transformation here.
Yeah.
Because 3 years ago, he was ready to get out the door.
Yeah.
And I was ready
2
for
years ago.
And I was ready for him to go.
Yeah, everybody
I was
was.
ready. I like, you want to leave?
Everybody was.
Tell me you want me to leave.
Yeah.
So we can get you out your misery. But then he made a transformation last year. He like, let me buy into this thing. And you know who I attribute it to? And I always tell this all. The apple is not far from the tree. J.B. Bickerstaff is a clone of his father, Bernie Bickerstaff. And I played for Bernie out in Seattle, right? For a short period of time, but I remember J.B. as the ball boy coming around to practice, right? Mm-hmm. The symbolism between what J.B. and Bernie do, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my God, you're your father's child. The way he talks, the way he jumps in, the way he just empowers people. He transformed, because you talk about Kevin Love, you talk about Donovan Mitchell, his resurgence here since he's bought into this package. It reminds me of what happened to Dale Ellis coming from Dallas to Seattle. Dale Ellis went from a guy that was just getting moved around to got to Seattle and became an NBA All-Star. Xavier McDaniel, Sean Kemp, Derek McKee, because their personalities allowed me to elicit things from others. And I see that happening here with JB.
JB's had a lot to do with Kevin. Kevin has a ton of respect for JB. He was thrilled when he got the job, when he was promoted. The Beeline thing was a disaster. We all know that. and
The Michigan man?
Yeah, Michigan man. And Kevin
Disaster.
Kevin told me
Same.
Kevin told me for years though.
Leroy.
That all he wanted was to play competitive basketball.
Right.
And I said, like, you signed up for this. When you took that money, you knew it was going to be bad.
That bag was tough.
And it went worse. It went south on them faster than he thought it would,
Yeah.
I think. And he would just say, I just want to play competitive basketball. I want to play meaningful. I don't want to end my career this way. And another thing that I think really triggered this transformation, he was so looking forward to the Team USA.
Yeah.
He had been talking about that for so long.
They got
The
hurt.
opportunity to play with Team USA.
Got hurt.
And then that was a disaster. And then Jerry Colangelo did him dirty and threw him under the bus and said a bunch of things he shouldn't have said.
Colangelo's a dirty dude anyway, so I mean.
And so that, I
ask
think,
somebody to play for Phoenix.
that
They'll tell you.
embarrassed Kevin, and it infuriated Kevin. And I think it helped trigger some of this career rejuvenation that we've seen out of him. Plus, they've got him in the right role now. 20, 25 minutes. That's perfect for him.
spot.
With all of the injuries that he's had in his career, you're trying to limit that. You're trying to protect him. And they've really got him. His mind is rejuvenated. And I joked with him in the locker room the other night. I said, could you end your career here? And he's like, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I said, how wild is that from where this was a couple years ago to where it is now? And he said, like, yeah, nobody could have seen this coming.
Man, let me tell
but everyone's enjoying it. Certainly.
Let me tell you something. So yeah, your Colangelo stories, man, get out of here. I mean, old school.
And my Colangelo story. Don't put him on me.
Old school dudes who used to do people dirty. That's how they used to do people in the league, hang them out to dry. He's one of them, right? So don't get me started on these dudes, right? But I would just tell you this. If you hadn't been to a Cavs home game yet, it is a playoff atmosphere down there. I've heard that from numerous people who have attended. Like, this thing is hype. I was in Heinen's grocery store the other day, and a lady was like, this thing is unbelievable down here. I'm like, oh, my God.
I was talking about this early, on the radio, and they posed a question to me, and they asked me, we know this is a Browns town, we always talk about who's racing to get the title, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always between the Guardians and the Cavs, even though the Cavs do have one. But there's a lot of people, I feel, Jason, that don't truly count the 16 championship. Not because they didn't earn it with Golden State, not because it wasn't sweet. It's because of that thing with LeBron. Some people have because it's almost like loving somebody and they don't love you as much as you love them. And I think when LeBron came back the second time, he won the championship and delivered. Yeah. But a lot of people feel like a championship with a brand new person without LeBron is the ultimate fulfilling goal.
That's insane. That's just it's stupid.
My boy right here.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That is illogical. This city hadn't had a championship since 1964.
Yeah, no,
and they came back from a 3-1 deficit against a team that won 73 wins. Don't tell me that thing doesn't matter. I know the 1.2 million number didn't really exist.
Right.
There was a ton of people.
There was a bunch of people.
There was hundreds of thousands of
yes,
people.
It mattered.
Don't bring that crap now.
So that's
that's
a small percentage of people. But be clear here. Let's be clear here on this. The Cavaliers have been angling to revive itself after LeBron's departure.
Yes.
It has taken a series of moves, shrewd moves here over time that have looked like they have paid dividends here. I have to give them credit because they took a pathway that was not always pleasant because, you sitting there watching some of this and it's like, what is going on here, right? And so now to see it come full circle because the ability to jump into the end and get Donovan Mitchell and was just the icing on the cake to the others that they had done. We're in the midst of things. We don't know where it's going, but the one thing that, to your point about Cleveland people are true to Cleveland folks, right?
That's it.
We gonna ride or die with it.
That's
We may
it.
complain, but nobody else better complain. Do you know how much money I lost on the Browns in my playing days, just betting internal with the Bulls? Because I always would bet Jordan on these Browns playoff games. I remember exactly when Biner left that ball on the carpet at the one. Because I had the money. Like, now, my money didn't run like his money, but I bet him this money, G. And so he's calling me in the first half like, I told you what was going to happen. The Browns suck, right? And so then when the Browns were coming back and Biner's about to come in and punch it in, he leaves the ball on the carpet at the one. This is about the mentality of Cleveland folks. As soon as he laid that ball on the carpet, do you know my phone rang in like the next 15 seconds?
Sick.
And he was like
sick.
this. This is what he said. Bring my money to practice.
Well, getting back to the LeBron thing, for 20 years, for 2 decades, 20 years, the Cavs' plan revolved around, maybe not that long, probably 10 years, 12 years. The plan revolved around LeBron.
Yeah.
It was, we have to be bad enough to be in position to draft him. So they traded like their top 4 leading scorers going into the year before he was draft eligible. They just threw everybody overboard just to be bad enough.
And they
just to get in position.
And they had to be bad enough in position to get him back.
Well, but that's the thing. So they had to be bad enough they had to trade all their top scorers just to be in position to try and get the chance to draft him, and it worked, and they got him. And as soon as they got him, it became, oh my God, we got to win. We got to win, we got to win, we got to win, we got to win. And then they lost him, and it was like, oh my God, we lost him. How do we get him back? We have to get him back. We have to get him back.
Well,
and that was the plan for I wrote an
4
entire
years.
book about it.
Well,
the plan for 4 years was figure out a way to get LeBron back. And once they got him back, then it became, now we got to win a championship with him. 15 years, Brad, 15 years. The entire plan of the organization was LeBron.
Yeah.
That's it.
I get you.
And then when he left in 2018, time for a new plan.
Well,
and to their credit, they pulled it off.
his roll back, Jason, let's be clear, wasn't that they did try to want to have him back, but his roll back was caused by external forces. One thing about you, if you haven't paid attention, LeBron likes to be liked. Yes, he does. He likes to be liked at home was where he likes to be liked. Not in Utah, Houston. He likes to be liked right here. Now, the heat he was catching coming back here, he wouldn't even come down to downtown because he was catching some heat.
He was not coming back without Kyrie. The roster is what brought him back. Some of the pieces on the roster.
But you can see during that year, he was laying the breadcrumbs down that he was leaving there.
He came back here.
The Miami people were like, what happened? We're like, did you not see the breadcrumbs he was leaving?
2 years earlier, 2 years before he left, he came back and said, I'd love to play for this franchise again if they'd have me. And let me tell you something. That day on the upstairs practice court was the day the entire focus of the franchise changed like that. When he said that, they were like, okay, this can happen. When they drafted Kyrie and they saw the talent Kyrie was, when he said, I'd love to play for this franchise again if they'd have me someday, the entire thought of the organization was, we got a shot at this, let's go.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying, for 15 years, the entire plan of the organization was LeBron. It was built around LeBron. Now it's not. And they did it faster than I thought they could.
He delivered on exactly what he said. And I said, I have no complaints with it. Now we've moved on here.
Here's the thing. When you go back to it, and I don't know how, maybe people are cognizant of it, or maybe people kind of glaze over it because he did win in what's dramatic fashion. But you tell me if I'm wrong, Jason. From what I heard from him in Akron was that he was finishing his career here. What I heard him say on that stage, he said, I'm going to do what's best for me, what's best for my city. He's coming home. And the expectation level was he was coming home to finish his career.
That's the press conference he gave before that or after that, whatever.
It was after.
And he said, I'm tired. I can't go through that again. Like, I'm done. And he left again. And if people want to be upset about that, I totally understand. I get it. Because I asked him that during our just bonkers interview over All-Star Weekend here. I said, what changed? You said you were never leaving. So, and I knew, like, if you were around that team, his last year in Cleveland, you knew he was gone.
You knew it was
over.
18. He played his tail off. He played hard.
Gee, I had people in the organization telling me October of 16, so after the championship, 3 months after the championship, LeBron is leaving and going to LA to play with his friends.
Knew it.
They called it. They were planning for it for 2 years.
Yes.
That when this is over, when this contract's up, he's leaving. The entire organization knew he was gone. So and so I asked him, like, what changed? And he basically, like, he didn't really answer it. He said, just, you get different wants and needs. Here's what happened. Dan and LeBron needed each other to get where they wanted to go. Dan needed LeBron to win a championship, and LeBron needed Dan
to come home.
To spend. LeBron needed Dan to spend what was necessary to win that championship in Cleveland. He came back. They won the title. Both sides said, we're good, and they went their separate ways.
I also believe that he has a desire to come home. I don't think people understand the heat he was catching here at the airport, at the restaurants. I mean, he was persona non grata here. He was, right? And that heat, he doesn't like that because he likes to be liked. Everybody likes to be liked.
Yes.
Be clear.
LeBron does not play well when you talk about.
He's not a good villain.
He's not a good villain. But I've always thought about it. Just as many people that love him, there is a faction of this community that will always say, the reason why this is more meaningful is because these dudes, we drafted them, they played here, they didn't leave, and if they get that championship, people will say that's why they tell you This team is the funnest team to watch. That's cold.
You know why it's fun? You know why it's fun? Because they've exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
They haven't let you down.
No.
That's why it's fun.
Well,
Wait till they get to the playoffs and lose, and then there's expectations that come with that.
This is still that, but I just say, and this time you got a slogan here. You better just know what it is: loyalty over royalty. They loyal. We loyal is all loyal, right? We're gonna ride with you to the end till you do something, till you thumb your nose up at us. Then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So as long as you loyal to us, they love AC Carr here, Austin Carr here. They love Campy.
They love Kevin Love.
They love Greg Pruitt. They love Sandy Alomar because they're loyal.
Mm-hmm.
The day you're not loyal around here,
Albert Bill.
Lindor, all them. Well, and listen, you're going to wear it like the Scarlet Letter around here. We're going to never let you forget.
And we'll continue to talk about this because even if they're really good, the reality is, how many more years is Donovan Mitchell signed? 2?
3.
He's signed for 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody know he said he thought he was going to New York. Mm-hmm. Thought he was. He thought he was signed, sealed, and delivered to go to New York. Now, the Cavs are lucky enough to have pieces and parts around where, guess what? Even if he moves or does whatever, they still got young pieces. And I think for the first time, the Cavs are in a position of leverage.
Yeah, they have leverage.
They were never in a position to leverage with LeBron. LeBron hammered him. He made him spend the luxury tax. He made them get every single year. He made them.
Well, he kept signing one-year deals.
Yes, he made them go to the tilt. And you look at it now. I look at LeBron's press conference and the way he said that. I think he knows he missed his opportunity. He knew he was going to be 2-7, 2-8, 2-9. They weren't going to be no good this year. He had an opportunity.
To do what?
He had an opportunity to not sign that deal and set himself up for coming back to Cleveland.
Yeah, he could have, but he wasn't gonna do that.
I think at this point is
well, let me tell you something.
It's brutally in your face that he's no longer in it for the ring.
Let me tell you something. He's a smart guy. He's closer to the end than the beginning. It happens to everybody. Yep. It does, right? But I will tell you what. If it wasn't for the fact that he was chasing the scoring record here, and Jeannie Buss not gonna let him go anywhere. The only proper move for the Lakers to do right now, because this is not getting better in Los Angeles anytime soon. The only 2 assets you have that are movable are LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and that's the only thing that can get you picks, players. See, you don't even need players. You need picks now because you what do they call it when you mortgage the future? Mm-hmm. Now the bill has come due and payable. Yeah.
Well, I mentioned this right before we went on the show. If I'm Anthony Davis, I'm furious with where things stand. Anthony Davis is 29, going to be 30 years old this season. He's
looking like he's 37, but keep going.
But he's if you want to call this the back end of the prime of his career, he should be on the back end of the prime of his career. He's got 1 ring, and it came in the bubble. And that counts to me, but there's a lot of people that don't look at that bubble ring as an actual championship ring.
Because you didn't go up against the adversity.
And just the fact that, he got 2 touches the second half yesterday. Or in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I think he had 2 touches, 2 shots. And that, and then he didn't talk to the media afterwards. You're seeing the frustration mount with AD of, I didn't sign up for this. This is not what I thought I was coming to.
What do you see, AD for Kyrie?
Kyrie is damaged goods. No, his value is
They're
down.
desperate in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Kyrie is toxic.
They're desperate in Los Angeles.
Not that desperate. Kyrie is toxic. You can get him for less than AD is what I'm saying.
Really
he has
quickly,
very little value
really
right
quick
now.
Before we bring Leroy in here, obviously they've won games against the Celtics. They won games against the Lakers. They're going to get the Clippers. You're going to get a chance to see them against the Golden State Warriors. I think a lot of people want to see coming up on Wednesday how well do they stack up against the Milwaukee Bucks. Mm-hmm. Right now, so far, obviously they're undefeated, but do you see the Cavs? How do they stack up against the best in the East? They look very impressive right now.
I think Cavs are one of the 3 best teams in the East. It's Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Boston. Pick whatever order you want. But the games this early in the season
I can't tell.
Mean nothing in terms of the long play, in terms of April, May, June. Just enjoy it for what it is. 2 good teams going at it.
We have to see what happens when some adversity hits.
Yes.
When you hit a couple losing streaks and how you respond to that. So, Mikey, run me a quick poll on this thing, right?
What you want, Brad?
Well, I want you to run a poll out here to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show fan base out here. Would you take LeBron James back here?
Oh, it'll be overwhelmingly no.
We're gonna put in the chat now. I'm gonna guess.
I get overwhelmingly no.
Just straight up, would you take LeBron James back?
Yeah, with this team here.
With this team here.
Because they're gonna,
Without giving anything,
because
just
they're going to implode this thing in Los Angeles.
When Leroy is
it has
done,
to
we will
happen.
update you guys.